From down in Kaitangata in the south. Grant Smith from Rakaya on stand number 2, and on 1 from Lawnville, Darren Ford. Merinos to shear this time round, along with 4 second shear sheep. So 4 merinos and 4 second shear.
So we're just waiting for John Kirkpatrick. Here he comes, right on cue, and Grant Smith as well, John.
That's give us a 6 up there for the PGG Wrightson's National Circuit, heat number 1.
So am I right in saying that these boys now in this, the PGG Wrightson's National Circuit, they share merinos, long wools, second shear and lambs in this round, do they, to make it through to the final?
Yes, it's... they've got to travel the country. All these different breeds. We don't shear them in one show. They're like the Paiatua, the second shear. Raglins, the lambs. Down on the south, we have the merinos. So they've got to spend a few dollars and get around the country, and it's not cheap for air points, air flights, and what have you. So a great effort for these fellas to actually get around the country. Referee to stand 6, please. But merinos, of course, have been trucked up from down in Ranfurly for this event. Alan Patterson down there has been supplying the merinos to the Golden Shears for numerous seasons now. And he does a fine job of preparing these sheep. We saw a few shorn in the Trans-Tasman Woolhandling test last night. The judges have got a bit of work to sort those out the back too, because they can be very high pointed sheep when the judging's done, so they've got to be right on their mettle. But these are 6 open class shearers rearing to go, and let's get at it as soon as we get the all clear from the referee. We have the shearers on the board as soon as possible. The referee's given me the all clear.
And what are they shearing in this first round, John?
Not quite. We're going to shear the merinos first, because that's the high value wool. So you'll see the wool handlers. There'll be a few extra wool handlers up on stage in the lower area there to remove these fleeces. And of course, then they're taken out the back and graded and all that sort of stuff out in the back room. And then, of course, all the pieces are going to be kept separate. And that's a bit of a challenge up there, logistical nightmare, but I'm sure that our wool handlers will get the job done. We've just got a slight delay at this moment. You just bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. I won't sing because that we could get a bit of a Welsh choir going. Perhaps there's enough Welshmen around the country. Good to see them here travelling and enjoying our hospitality over here, Hugh.
Yeah, and as you say, it is hospitality, though. I've got a wonderful welcome, and so does everybody when we come over to work in New Zealand and to travel over to shear sheep. And then we try and repay the favour when you boys come back to us. So it looks as if there's still a bit of discussion going on up there on stand number 6. These shearers, I don't know much about these merinos. All I know is that they're wrinkly buggers, and they take a lot more shearing than a crossbred. They're very different to us from what we got back home in Wales, where we got bare-legged sheep, they got bare bellies, they got bare necks. And then you come over here and these merinos, it looks as if somebody's been out with a welder and welded the wool on.
Old Super Sam, he's going to fix the job.
Oh, I thought he'd come on with a 6-inch nail and a hammer.
more than likely, yeah, but must have been a wild sheep there in their last event and made things a little bit shaky down there. But
I think it must have been Bryce Guy ripping the door open to get in for his next one.
Well, there'll be some ripping and snorting going on there, and Tommy Wilson, he'll be gasping for breath after he gets rid of these merinos. But he's a very experienced competitor, and he's come to play here this morning, and it looks like they're ready to roll. Shearers are on the board. We have the green light. Thank you, Mr. McNo. Okay. Timekeepers right. Judges. Competitors, go. Ooh, PGG Wrightson's. I'll be proud to be up here today sponsoring this event Look at them go. The nice grey, dull tone of the merino comes out of the pen. Now they're going to work away on these wethers and just go down the belly as careful as possible and around the crutch, and they'll have the job done. Not a lot of wool taken off these sheep, so you've got to cover all the area. Angus Moore, look at him. I think he's a young fella, but he was the winner of this event last year, and he knows how to get it done. Young Axel Reid there as well, but a little bit slower pace than what we've been used to in the lead up to this event. But Johnny Kay down there, up over the tail. Look to be plenty of cover on these merinos. Nice and round, and we should see some good work on them, Hugh.
Yeah, I can see why they are a little bit slower, because by God, there's wrinkles everywhere on these damn things. Look at them. But these boys, they know how to shear them. They shear hundreds, if not thousands of them all throughout the season. So we got a stellar lineup, ladies and gentlemen. Now we got Darren Ford from Lawnville down the deep south. They're on stand in number 1. He was a previous record holder on the ewes. He's still a record holder as well. He shows 720 ewes in 9 hours back in 1997, I believe it was, and that record was held for a long time. So he knows his way around these sheep, and he'll be wanting to make those long wools later on. Grant Smith from Rakaya, then he's a twice, if not 3 times winner of this event. There on stand number 2, he knows his way, and look at him, he's making this merino look as if it's just no wrinkles at all. He'll get to the turn and down the last side for Grant Smith. Angus Moore, then the young man, he won this event last year. He's had the use of that Hyundai Santa Fe for 12 months, and his wife has sent him back to win it again on stand number 3. Axel Reid from Taihape, they're on 4. Young fella just stepped up, he's doing the miles around the shows, and that's why he's up here today shearing these wrinklies in this, the first heat of the VGG Wrightson Circuit Final. Then we got Johnny Kirkpatrick up there on stand number 5, a man that he's no introduction. Really, he's won the Golden Shears Open 4 times. He set a 4-stand record down the deep south the other day as well, just to add to the mantelpiece collection. And then we got Tom Wilson. He was the first Northern Hemisphere world champion down there on stand number 6. So we've got bags of experience. We got more guns than a gun shop up there, Nookie.
Well, these guys are doing extremely well. Johnny Kay working down into the belly. If you notice, they're not just throwing the handpiece in as much as they do on the crossbreds. These are got finer skin, and they are a little bit easier to nick or to cut. But these guys are doing extremely well. They're trying to keep their bottom tooth down to make sure they don't second cut that nice white merino wool. Well-bred wethers here. They're shearing these wethers in just on 3 minutes, which is good for a merino wether. The wethers are usually got a bit of feisty about them. Darren Ford on stand number 1. Up the undermine he goes. The blows aren't as long and as quick, and he takes a nice top notch off, clears into the ear there, make sure that he clears. Usually they have a few horns up there, but these guys have been dehorned. Johnny Kirkpatrick on stand number 5. Into the neck, of course, there's a dewlack up there. There's a few dewlacks up the neck. They're going to work their bottom tooth so that it stays on the skin and work around that wrinkle that's up the neck. Axel Reid on stand number 4. Down into the belly he goes. Well, John, these guys, they've got 4 merinos to shear and 4 second shear. It looks like they're doing a beautiful job. They're not exactly fast merinos to get around, but it looks like they're doing good jobs.
They're certainly, just looking at the time, it took about 2 minutes 45 seconds to get that first merino shorn, so over double the time that it would normally take Johnny Kirkpatrick to shear a crossbred, and just a lot more technical stuff needs to be done on these merinos around the horn, as you said. Very careful around there. You don't want to break a tooth off, because that'll make it damn near impossible for you to get the rest of the wool off. As Darren Ford comes down the last side here up in the front stand. You notice how once they clip the wool off, that dull grey turns to white. the inside of the wool. Beautiful stuff. Get carried away here. We'll just make sure it's all separate from the crossbred wool that's going to come off shortly. But Darren Ford first to get number 3 on the board. A little bit back off the pace is Grant Smith, but we know the quality of this man. He has done this numerous times in this event, and he just knows how to shear. And the quality points up there on the board at the moment are just showing that. And they are all doing extremely well, but the judging can be a little bit more severe out the back, simply because those wrinkles lend themselves to hanging on to a bit of second cut wool, and that could cost you in points out the back. There'll be no trouble to get up into the 80s and 90s on these sheep out there, whereas the crossbreds will be somewhere down in the 7 to 13 range perhaps. Out the last leg now for Axel Reid. Angus Moore's got sheep number 3 on the board. Tommy Wilson, he's still in with the hunt down there. The old campaigner down the bottom end. Down the first off, the belly's going now, getting ready to go that first off leg. Johnny Kirkpatrick doing the undermine. Axel Reid steps into the pen. Plenty of power on that young fella, but it's not all about power. It's precision, keeping that 13-tooth comb flat on the skin. Grant Smith puts a couple of good shots up the undermine. Likewise as Angus Moore, he's hanging on to his coattail. But the pacemaker, oh, right from the deep south, Lawnville, Darren Ford. He's a cagey old master, by golly. And he just, look at him, just no waste on his body at all, and arms are full of sinew and muscle, and he punched out over those wrinkles on the last side there, Hugh. No effort at all to the man on stand number 1.
I'm told that that's a good one there on stand number 1 for Darren. He's out the hind leg with his next blow now. I just came into my mind, and there was a bit of a thing over in Wales. They were putting a merino over the Welsh ewe to try and improve the wool. I think it's still ongoing. The jury's out on that score. I don't think there'd be many Welshmen queuing up to shear these things, to be completely honest, but this wool is worth a lot, and we're seeing a lot more of this wool, of course. It's a wonderful fibre, makes really, really good garments. The garment that will keep you warm when it's cold and cool you down when it's hot. So these boys now, they're all just settling in. Darren Ford has got sheep number 4 on the board. Johnny Kirkpatrick there on stand number 5. He goes out the hind leg, and he'll be going in for 4. So he's not hanging around on these either, and as you can see, the quality on those boards is pretty low for some of these guys when you consider that the wrinkles and everything they've got to put up with, and they've had to travel around the country to all these shows, and they've even been going down and working for those big contractors down south on these merinos, and moving over to Australia and working and travelling over there. And I see Mr. Bruce Walker, who of course was the manager over on the Trans-Tasman. He's come just to see how these merinos are going to go for his team later on today that will be competing against the Australians. So Axel Reid is doing that famous merino front leg there on stand number 4. Down the last side he comes. How are those fellas getting on up the far end there, Nookie?
Well, the PGG Wrightson's National Circuit semi-final, Heat 1. But Tommy Wilson, down out the leg he goes on sheep number 3. He's got one more merino left in the pen. Axel Reid on stand 4, and he goes for merino number 4. Well, it looks like Darren Ford's hit the speed stakes. He's dropped into the long blow on merino number 4. Well, these merinos, I think they've got a lot of work in them, and these guys are really trying to get the quality. Johnny Kirkpatrick down into the first shoulder. Grant Smith, I thought that merino would have been a bit better shearing, a little smaller merino. He might have opened it up a little bit more. Down into the long blow he goes.
Just look at the neck on this merino that Angus Moore's got. Look, he had to find a way in there over about 3 big dewlaps.
Well, that's why they have the PGG Wrightson National Circuit. It's a multi-breed competition, and these guys have travelled down to Alex, down to Balclutha, and a couple other shows, Christchurch, and the lamb shear up in Raglan to make this semi-final. Well, it's all go here because Johnny Kirkpatrick is coming back into the game. He's out the leg. Darren Ford just stepping in for the first of his second shear use. Well, it's all go here, John. A great competition, and this is only the first of our semi-finals.
Yeah, Grant Smith about to change a handpiece as well now. The pace will pick up a little bit. 10.5 minutes are gone as Angus Moore comes down the last side. Oh, he's starting to feel a little bit. Axel Reed's still got half the merino to do. Perhaps he saved the best one to last. Is there such a thing as a good one? Tommy Wilson's got a lot of work to do as he drops down into the long blow on stand number 6. Sheep number 4. But the pacemaker up here in the front stand is Darren Ford from Lawnville. Oh, he's making up for it. He's freed up. All that tension about shearing those merinos has just gone out the door now as he rocks down the last side of the sheep. Angus Moore's got the belly off his first crossbred. Likewise into the long blow is Grant Smith from Rakaya. Johnny Kirkpatrick down on number 5 coming out the last leg. He's got right on the heels of Darren Ford. In fact, it might be Johnny Kay with a bit of a sniffers just in front of him. I think he might have just taken over the mantle of the lead.
Yeah, Johnny Kay said, I don't mind shearing these merinos. I'm not renowned for it, but I can take the wool off if I have to. But I love these second shear. Darren Ford's thinking, oh hell, I'm going to have to pull my finger out now because he's chasing my tail. Up the neck for Darren, up the neck for Johnny Kirkpatrick. Tom Wilson sinking down there on his stand number 6. I'm glad we don't have these in the hills and the glens in Scotland. Out the hind leg he comes and he'll stand on that second shear. Angus Moore, he'll go in for sheep number 6. Grant Smith is on 6. Axel Reed has started on the second shear. He's into the hind leg and undermine. But it's Johnny Kirkpatrick and Darren Ford. They turn together. They're round the brisket together. Down the last side they come. Johnny Kay goes out the hind leg. I think Darren Ford is held onto his lead though. One bit of a flick for Darren. In goes Darren. In goes Johnny Kay. Up the neck goes Angus Moore. On the long blows is Grant Smith. Now the pace has hotted up Nookie.
Well, here we go. Stands 1 and 5 are battling it out. Johnny Kirkpatrick on 5 and Darren Ford on stand 1. They both go into the undermine together. There's no one even close to them. Johnny Kay, oh, that one just kicked. Darren Ford round the back of the head. In goes Grant Smith for sheep number 7. Oh, Angus Moore just getting left behind a little bit, but he knows he is the past champion, last year's champion in this PGG Rights and National Circuit. And Angus Moore, well, he's going to work hard now. Down into the belly he goes. Undermine, putting some big blows in, but it's all Darren Ford on stand 1. He turns to the last side. Down the last leg he goes. He's about 4 blows in front of Johnny Kirkpatrick on stand 5. Darren Ford, he's going to step in for sheep number 8. Over to you, John.
Yeah, look at him go, Angus Moore. He wants to keep the hammer down. The job's pretty right, but he doesn't want to sacrifice quality for speed, and he rolls off that last shoulder now, down and out the flank. Johnny Kay's coming still hard on the heels of Darren Ford. Just watching Darren go here on the front stand. He just blazes up over the tail now. The undermine was just destroyed. He's on his 8th and final sheep and he's dropping into the long blow. Johnny Kay dropped back a couple of shots. Darren's got a nice small sheep. Tommy Wilson's blazing away down there on sheep number 6. It's number 7 coming out for Axel Reed. Number 8 on the board for the Rakaya man, Grant Smith. Still in with a chance. Remember to keep the points down low. Those total points at the end, they're the ones that count. Tommy Wilson under the shoulder, but Johnny Kay to the top of the shoulder. But here comes Darren Ford. Hits the button here on the front stand. Takes it away nicely. Johnny Kirkpatrick out the last leg as Angus Moore turns for home on the third stand. Johnny Kay gets the blue light there. In goes Tommy Wilson for sheep number 1. I can't see. Sheep number 7 is it? Sheep number 7 on the board for Axel Reed. As Angus Moore's out the last side and Grant Smith just got the last side to complete here on stand number 2. Johnny Kirkpatrick having a bit of a grin to himself as Angus Moore switches off there, Hugh. Hey, some great shearing. Just keep an eye on those total scores up there, ladies and gentlemen. They'll give you an indication of how the shear is going.
Yeah, but remember, of course, that there's another round to go. They'll be shearing lambs and full wool later on. For Grant Smith and Rakaya then. He's won this a couple of times. He knows what it's about. Axel Reed, then he'll go in for his 8th and final sheep, I think that is. Yes, it is. Tom Wilson, the young fella down there on stand number 6. The first Northern Hemisphere world champion. So he knows his way to how to push that handpiece. He's now moved over to New Zealand. And they live down there south, down in Dargaville. So Tom Wilson then just puts the finishing touches to 7. He'll be going in for sheep number 8. Axel Reed, flick that neck will up. Up the neck he goes. Nookie, they're really going well because they've had to shear 2 very difficult breeds of sheep.
Well, they are an Axel Reed down into the long blow. He's only a young fella, just stepped up last couple of years into the open. He's travelled around and he's doing extremely well. Well, he turns to the last side. Axel Reed from Taihape. He's had a good shear. Doing extremely well. He's got a lot of years to come, and I'll tell you, you'll see him around a lot more over the next few years. Pushing that handpiece a little bit harder. Down out the leg he goes. Give him a hand, Axel Reed from Taihape. Well, John, just while Tom's shearing this last one, bring him home. I got some townies here that just were wondering what those points up there. It's the lowest points, isn't it, John?
That's correct. It's the lowest points you require. You'll see the time points on the left-hand column. That you take the top one for Darren Ford, 43.4. They are made up of 3 points per minute. As you say, 16 minutes are gone so far. So if it takes him 15 minutes to shear, he's going to have 45 points in time. Here we go. The board points there are 5.3. That's an average number of second cuts to the wool fibre. And then